Okay, so can you tell me how would you create your sound, or what creates a nice djenty tone in your opinion?
Well, we're gonna use the forbidden word,
Yeah.
the word that should not be mentioned. Okay,
Yeah,
well, the good thing is
exactly.
that you have an Axe FX here.
Yeah.
This is what I use.
Yeah.
This is what I use.
Okay.
This is not mine, so I kind of started working on this just to get it set up for you guys. But here, let's take a look. So like right off the bat, I really like the PV 5150 block letter. It's a 6160 block. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit noisy for a little bit, so do that. But right off the bat, it's way too loud. First problem. We'll fix this. We'll get this down.
So do you like to use lots of distortion?
Yeah, I mean, I try to find that sweet spot between where you're getting the saturation. If you use too little, it doesn't kind of crunch right.
Yeah.
But the other trick that I do, which I'm going to set up right now, is I like to put a drive block in front of it, like that overdrive pedal. So here we have, it's got to add a little bit of noise, but let's bring that down, bring that a little bit.
And not to get too mushy. There's also the tricks, you know, to find.
This is what the overdrive does. Without it, with it. What it does is it sort of reduces the amount of low end that's hitting the amp. Lets it focus on the mids, and that hits the front end.
Yeah.
That makes it sound quite nice, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little bit meaner also.
Right, absolutely. And in a way, you can actually use less gain to get an aggressive sound. But here's the interesting thing. If I turn the gain all the way down, you know, it's got a noise gate on this as well, because I guess with all the lights and everything, this room is just a little bit noisy. This noise gate, turn the attack and the release to be as fast as possible. There we go. So I'll get rid of the noise. Turn the gain way down. That'd be sort of the low end of how much gain I'd use.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to saturate, then you bring the gain up and it's like, you get that really purry quality to it. So it really just depends. When we're recording in the studio, we're playing around with that gain a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Just to whatever's sort of right for the riff.
Yeah,
that makes
exactly.
sense. Whatever makes it sound best.
Good.
There's no general rule, but I do try to use as little as possible. But lately, I've been kind of using more and more.
Yeah.
Just having fun with it, you know.
Yeah. So you are touring with this also?
Yep. This is a strangely accurate setup. I mean, like, we're not using the same equipment, but the same sort of setup where what I imagine the cameras are hearing is the direct feed. Because as you see, we don't really have this mic'd up.
Yeah.
But we have the second output going to a power amp and then to a cab, which is just for the stage sound. We used to go just direct, which was great, very clean, no added stage noise.
Yeah, exactly.
And anyone who was on stage, or like side stage, or anyone in the front rows, in certain venues, the PAs are kind of in front of the crowd rather than behind them. They don't have speakers for that front row.
Yeah.
And anyone who was there was like, I can't hear the guitars. All I hear is drums, really. You know?
Yeah.
So we started putting cabs on stage and just being more aware of that, create more stage sound so that people who are up front can also get a good experience. I feel like in some ways they should get a special experience, and not in a bad way because they fought their way to the front, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So really we have the cabs on stage just for them, you know? We're on in-ears, so I barely ever hear it myself. So it really is just for the people in the front.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
But it's a very, very similar setup to this. We have it the same.
Yeah.
Even have that kind of the same. Like I always have that at noon because that's what goes to front of house. And this is your cab volume, which I play around with. It starts here, and then by the end of the set, gets louder.
Yeah.
Don't tell my front of house guy that.
I hear you.
Yeah.
How about the? Somebody was asking me about the forbidden word, the djent.
Djent.
Tone, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you turned up?
Well, I mean,
all
like,
the, djent
what you see. So one of the things is like you kind of. I mean, it's partially technique. But that drive. That's without it. Now it's already like kind of that quality, but you put the drive. And then I guess having like a noise gate that's a little bit tighter.
Yeah, I guess that's the keyword here.
Yeah, like that,
cool.
that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's super cool. So it's you set the noise gate pretty.
Well, you know, so what we actually have a computer controlling our patches here, and we have a few different settings for our rhythm tone. So one where the noise gets set a little bit tighter, and then one where it's looser. Because with the tighter setting, it kind of eats into like any faster playing or leads, you know. Right now it's pretty good for that. So not quite as tight there.
Right.
So that's where we'll like, you know, have the computer doing our switching for us.
Nice.
Actually, it does all our switching, so we can just stand wherever.
Yeah, you can focus on the playing.
Cool. And completely wireless. We have wireless in-ears, wireless packs, so you just stand anywhere. All the switching happens from the computer, and we have our click tracks that everyone plays through. So
you have to love this modern technology.
Yeah, I mean, like that's, you know, like 10 years ago, I don't think that we would have. I mean, you might have been able to do it, but you wouldn't have been able to afford it. So now it's like pretty affordable. So it's nice.
So it's basically pretty simple thing you do. There's some.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's great because it's simple. This has been a very reliable unit, but when we do fly gigs, you know, like we just have to take this and we have all our sounds there. Even some gigs, if we have to just go direct, well, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, just take this, right? But you know, if you consider the alternative, which is like renting backline or whatever for the amps, bring your pedal board, you have to bring a lot more stuff.
Yeah, cool.
And stuff that could potentially go wrong. So so this has worked out pretty well for us, and you know, that's what we're using right now. Yeah. Just because it's kind of simple.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
It looks complicated.
It does.
But, a little bit. And it is, but once you get it dialed in, it's very simple.
Yeah, nice. Well, hey, I'm using this here, so.
Yeah, that's even simpler. That's way better.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that you have also your new signature distortion pedal.
Yeah, well, it's an overdrive. It's actually what this. So it's very interesting. I think a lot of people didn't realize that a large part of our sound is that drive. So the 5150, for example, is a very aggressive amp to begin with. You know. So people would be like, well, that should give me the sound I want. But it's kind of designed, like what I realized is like all these amps were designed for higher tunings, generally thinner strings. Yeah. So the frequencies that they're getting fed are just way less low end. And this is just feeding the frequencies it's not really supposed to be getting. So we created a drive pedal that does what this does. It's on, you know. Yep. Very notable difference there, and you can hear it's kind of like flubby without it. Yeah. And that's partially the tuning and the gauges, but you know, these are the tunings that modern metal guys like, is the lower stuff. So it's kind of figuring our way around it. But with my pedal, you can sort of adjust how much low end hits the front end of the amp. You know, it's got this attack knob that's like variable, and that depending on the guitar you're using. So if you were using that, you probably use a lot less. You'd be able to let more of the low end in, and you can actually let more low end in than a traditional tube screamer. So it can even work in the other direction. Cool. Conversely, if we're doing like the 7-string stuff and we're using the thicker strings or the 8-string stuff, then we're like cranking that. Because it'll make that low end sound really tight, and it gives you that djenty sound.
Yeah, I think I know it.
And it's got a gate built into it, so it doesn't add any noise. As you hear, like how all the noise the drive adds here. So it's like we're just trying to approach it from a practical standpoint because I was like, there's not really a pedal that does that. So
no,
might as well make one for us, you know?
Yeah, cool. And also some interesting facts came up to me that you have also your signature PV.
Yeah, well, yeah, like that's a collaboration with them. It's I love amps. I love amps to death.
Yeah.
And they make one of my favorite amps of all time. Well, the model I'm using on here is the 5150 block letter. And that was kind of the starting point for that amp. But that amp, if you know it, if anyone knows that amp, doesn't have a clean channel and is pretty dated.
Yeah.
You know, so and like I wanted to kind of tweak it, make it cleaner, and give it a ton of new features. So it has like built-in noise gate, built-in drive, MIDI, 2 effects loops that are really clean, and it has an incredible clean channel on it. So that's even the kind of, you know, it's kind of like this guitar where it's like, you know, you're saying, well, is a metal thing? It's like it can do metal really, really well. But if you were just to use a clean channel on that, you'd be very happy.
Nice.
And I think what they were saying is the PV was telling me that they're getting some interesting requests from like country guys who just like the clean channel.
Oh, yeah.
They're not really too concerned with the heavier stuff on it.
Exactly.
But they were just so happy with the clean channel that they're like, all right, I want this. You know, and the features that it has. So it's like, I'm glad. I'd like it to be. It was a collaboration that we did to just try to, you know, it's like if you ever get the opportunity to collaborate with someone on an amp, you take that opportunity. So I was like,
sure,
yeah, it's good.
So it's a tube amp? Oh, yeah, nice.
Yep, 6L6 power section, which is kind of what I feel is right for that kind of preamp.
Yeah, so it's going to be something quite different from this one.
Yeah, and you know what my front of house guy's gonna hate is the fact that I love the way that sounds.
Yeah.
So we've been using them as the power amp live in the US. But every now and then I was plugging in through the front and I was just like, okay, this sounds really good.
Yeah, nice.
So part of me wants to just get a nice big pedal board setup going. Basically, now that I have the entire world in this box, I want to make my life really complicated and difficult for like a 10% increase in tone.
Yeah.
But like that 10% is totally worth it to me because I'm a musician and I'm crazy. You know, that's what we do.
That's the point.
We torture ourselves and everyone, all of our friends. So, you know, and the other guys in the band like it too. So there's this idea that like maybe we will switch the pedal rigs. And something about that will be nice is like, I think there's a way to where we can still have the computer do the switching. But we'll sort of have our override function if we want to jam or just get playful, which we can't really do right now. And it'll be nice to have like sort of, you know, a tangible pedal board in front of you with pedals that you can mess with. So, and the amp plays very nicely with that. So yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I'm fighting the good fight on that one.
Good. So will it be on stores also?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're just. I did a few last-minute revisions, which pushed everything back. I've been working on that amp for 3 years. People have to wait a few extra months. It's worth it, you know. It's like get it right. So
it's gonna be this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think the first units for the U.S. should be shipping June, July. Hopefully.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully. I don't know when this video comes out, but hopefully, hopefully you could quote me on that. And then the idea is like, if not then shortly after for the rest of the world.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent.